Black Clover is my favorite manga or comic of all time. I just love everything about it, from the world building, the lore, the fights, the power system, the characters, the art style, pretty much everything. It is nearly a perfect series in the terms of what I want from when I consume entertainment media. But one of my biggest gripes with the series is the Wizard King fight against Patri. Not actually the quality of the fight itself or the narrative, but the power levels of it and how that was poor writing for how Tabata would convey power progression just chapters later. Sure, Julius was stronger than Patri. He would have won the fight if he went all out, but it makes no sense that he was not fast enough to catch Patri, and it makes no sense that he struggled at all against Patri. The reason why I believe it to be a poor way that Tabata handled the power progression of the series is because the version of Patri that he fought immediately becomes a weak fighter just chapters later, as he gets a power amplification when he gets his Elven power back, which is at least a 3x multiplier in power. If you want me to make a video on the Elven amp and its power multiplier, comment down below, as I have some good evidence that portrays it to be at least a 3x multiplier over their human host. Anyways, and then Patri gets a double amp when he becomes a Dark Elf, getting more mana and a more powerful magic type, Demon Light Magic. And then he gets even more powerful the angrier he gets, and yet despite being so much more powerful, Asta and Yuno could keep up with his speed, and Nozel's Mercury was moving even faster than Dark Elf Patri's fastest spell, the Ray of Divine Punishment, even though Patri was getting stronger and stronger over the course of the fight because of rage power. It really makes no sense for Julius to have any struggles at all with base Patri's speed if Asta and Yuno can keep up with Dark Elf Patri, and Nozel is just straight up faster. And Julius is supposed to be the strongest, most powerful character in the series, or at least in the Clover Kingdom. So in this video, I'm going to try and rewrite the Wizard King fight in a way that doesn't cause issues for power progression in the series. Now please just hear me out. Again, I'm not saying that this was a bad fight, it was actually an amazing fight. Both animation, the art, the choreography, and the narrative of the fight was phenomenal in a vacuum. But that does not negate that the fact that it had consequences for the power progression of the series. If Tabata wants to portray Julius as the strongest mage, then there should be no sound argument to be made against him not being that. But there is plenty, as you can check out my video dedicated to his poor power display. I just ask you to keep an open mind. I'm not trying to dog on Tabata's work, just trying to improve upon the smallest aspect of it. If you guys have enjoyed this video and like the way I went with it, please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also turn notifications. Follow me on Twitter down below as well. So for the Julius Patri fight, everything should start out the same. William seeks out Julius atop the castle to confront him. He thanks Julius, but then apologizes to him, as well as revealing that he was hosting Patri inside of him. Now my first issue with this fight is that it is stated over and over again that the Third Eye dwarfed Patri in power. If captains can keep up with the Third Eye, even Mereoleona bodying one of them without difficulty, it is important that it is stated that Patri has far surpassed them now, as Julius should surpass all magic knights below him. So in my version of this fight, Patri is able to activate his Elven reincarnation early via the use of forbidden magic. He has the golden aura, is way more powerful, and has the Elven ears. This shows that the fight will be serious and that he is far stronger than the Third Eye. He has light magic, Elven mana, and a 4-leaf Clover Grimoire, and that is needed to take on the Wizard King. The fight starts, and I would say that it is different. Even though Patri has accessed his Elven form, Julius at full power with his time magic is too much, dodging attacks, capturing attacks, and even launching some back at him. Patri is stunned that despite his overall power increase as a true elf now, the human Wizard King is not only keeping up, but outperforming him. This forces Patri to activate a spell that he never used on himself in the series proper, the Forbidden Magic spell of the Third Eye. If Patri was able to gift this spell to the Third Eye group, then why not gift it to himself, increasing his power and, like what happened with Vetto, giving him access to demon magic. If you don't know, the Viz translation called this mythical beast magic, even though it really is demon beast magic. So Patri's light dims to allow him to use demon light magic, and due to the forbidden magic messing with the conventional laws, it allows him to access William's World Tree magic. He not only launches World Tree attacks at Julius, but begins spreading his roots across the noble realm, slowly stealing the power of all the nobles and royals that wronged his people 500 years ago. With Patri's newly displayed ultimate power, he begins to take the upper hand in the fight, even landing a strike across Julius's chest and wounding him for the first time in years. While Patri is mocking in his glory, Julius stuck to his stoic calmness, waving his hand over his chest and reversing the time across his wound, essentially healing himself. Not only does this maintain the shock value to Patri, but also allows for Julius to finally unveil his true full power by activating his mana zone. With his power multiplying, Julius retakes the upper hand. While Julius tries to not kill Patri, as it would kill William, he does try and maim him, launching attacks on his limbs. While Patri is at first wounded, thanks to William's spell, Budding of Yggdrasil, he is able to heal these wounds. Julius is winning the fight overall with his mana zone, but the tides of battle are turning. Julius is slowing down. Not only is he beginning to run out of stamina from the prolonged fight, but also because of Patri using the World Tree magic to slowly sap away his mana stores. This time, Patri actually uses his strongest and fastest spell against Julius. Unlike in the original fight, he uses the Ray of Divine Punishment with the Demon Light magic, thinking that this would be the ace in the hole. He launches it at Julius, but Julius' time magic just rips right through it, dissipating it, and just as it's about to rip through Patri's chest, Julius ceases the attack so it does not kill Patri, and by proxy, William. Patri does come to the shocking revelation that Julius is still holding back. He was purposefully aiming away from Patri's torso so that William would not be killed. This led Patri to the same realization that he came to in the original fight, questioning what is Julius's power, can he really just be human, and he wonders what type of grimoire he has, which he then points to his coverless grimoire in the sky. Patri realizes what must finally be done. He unleashes Demon World Tree magic, the Mistletoe Tree, taking all the magic that he had stolen from Julius and the other nobles and royals in the noble realm, then activates Demon Light magic, Arrows of Judgment, covering the sky and the swords of black light. Patri vows to kill the Clover royals and nobles in the same way they slaughtered him and his people with their own power. As the root of the World Tree magic had spent the entire fight stealing Julius's power and everybody else in the noble realm, I think it is much more fitting to attach the scene of the royals stealing mana from the elves and killing them with this moment instead of Elfghost Droa, when he was defeated. Not only this, but the World Tree magic that has been affected by the Underworld's forbidden magic has created branches to the Qliphoth Devils. Julius senses a grouping of terrible entities dwelling on the other side of the Mistletoe Tree, and even the voices of the screaming devils piercing into him. It isn't quite dark magic and a World Tree magic combination, so the gates are not open, and the Qliphoth Devils cannot actually pass through, and just act as a little gateway, so that Julius could see what was going through, and hear and feel it. But this acts as more foreshadowing and build-up for the Tree of Qliphoth than way earlier on in the manga than we actually got it. So not only does Patri parallel the royal humans from 500 years ago by stealing the power, but Julius also parallels Lumiere, the first Wizard King, as he is defending the kingdom from a demonic entity. As Patri's forbidden magic has slowly transformed him into a partial dark elf, similar to how Luck and some of the other elves were looking in the Elf Arc before they were saved from the Demon Destroyer sword, but also he has 3 eyes and demon light magic, and ultimately, though unbeknownst to either of them, he was just a pawn of a high-ranking devil. Patri mocks that he is ruining everything that Julius has worked for, using the populace's favorite hero, William Vengeance, the captain of the Golden Dawn, the next most likely to become the Wizard King. He used that World Tree magic from that hero against the citizens he was supposed to protect. Julius's greatest pupil is leading the downfall of the Clover Kingdom, or at least that's what they would think in their final moments as they look at the tree that covers the noble realm. This pushes Julius to further stand for his own ideals and continue to protect his idea of what he thinks a society should be. As the demon light swords empowered by the noble realm descend into the populace, Julius activates time reversal magic Chrono Anastasis and saves the kingdom. Though, in the process, he sacrifices all of his mana and his stored time, which leads to Patri stabbing him and killing him. This is the end of the fight now. Everything else after here, I think is pretty good for what Tabata has done. The power scaling is now fixed, and now there is more foreshadowing for the Tree of Qliphoth, and now even more foreshadowing for Patri's Dark Elf form. I think it adds even more parallels and duality to the story, as it is another tale of the Wizard King defending the kingdom from a demonic entity, as well as for allowing Patri to attempt to reverse the sin of theft upon the Clover Kingdom. So, Patri uses his elven form, the Third Eye spell, which turns him into a partial Dark Elf and grants him demon light magic as well as access to World Tree magic, which thus grants him the ability to heal in this fight as well as to steal not only Julius's mana, but the nobles and royals of the realm. You can then make it so that Julius fought the strongest version of Patri, as you can have him still as a full Dark Elf later on be weaker, as in the Dark Elf form he does not have World Tree magic to steal others' magic, nor does he have this third eye as he would turn it off after this fight. So when Austin Yuno or Nozel keep up with or outspeed Dark Elf Patri, it still keeps Julius as an absolute monster in power because he fought a much stronger version and still held back, and was forced to protect the entire kingdom, and had to face off against the combined power of the top of the class system that he was trying to break already. Julius obviously wants people to be more equal, and in order to achieve this goal, he had to directly overpower the combined might of the royals and the nobles so they could protect the weak and the defenseless. But anyways guys, this is how I would change the Wizard King fight. Again, I think it's already great, I think it's a great fight, but in terms of power progression for what happens later on in the series, it just doesn't make sense. If Julius is this strong, if he's stronger than all the captains, Patri should not have been hard for him to catch. A Zagrid with no Grimoire was able to easily capture an Elf Patri who would be much stronger and faster than the human Patri that Julius fought. Julius is supposed to be the strongest in the kingdom, like by far stronger than them and not even comparable. Then they should have gotten no diff by Dark Elf Patri. They should not have been able to counter the Ray of Divine Punishment when Julius never even faced off against that. And if Julius is supposed to be above Nozel, then Nozel would not have no diffed Patri, even though he did have the elemental advantage. But remember, elemental advantages are just advantages, they're not the end all be all. Like when Magna went against a ice user in the beginning, which was Heath, despite having the elemental advantage, it still didn't really do much. So yeah, I think this is how it should be, or not how it should be, but this is how I would have done it, knowing what has happened in Black Clover now. I think this is a good way to do it, as it makes sense for Julius's power scaling and power progression, but also adds even more foreshadowing to the Tree of Qliphoth, and adds more symbolism to the series. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...